everybody? Welcome back to the Jack Strong Host, Jack Salmon, and today we are going to be recapping the games from this weekend. Some college, some NFL. There's a lot to unpack this weekend, and a lot of time and research went into this video. So please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and let's get straight into it. We start in the college football world. One of the more anticipated matchups this weekend. Number 23 Utah at 5-1 travels to BYU to take on BYU. 6-0 at the time. And BYU started off with a touchdown. Chase Roberts received a touchdown from Bear Bachmeier. And the extra point was good. Utah, Devin Dampier touchdown pass to Ryan Davis, 7-7. Will Farron with the field goal before the halftime score, 10-7. Fourth quarter, things really got kicked up. Daniel Bray with a big-time touchdown run. Then, back-to-back touchdown runs for BYU. Or back-to-back touchdowns for BYU. Not rushing touchdowns, but the first one was a rushing touchdown. Parker Kingston, 12-yard run, followed by a Bear Bachmeier, 22-yard run. That put them up 2 scores. Larry Simons caught the touchdown from Devin Dampier, but the comeback effort would fall short. Thoughts on the game? First of all, it was a great game, high-scoring game. You love to see the offenses come through, but this was sort of a defensive battle and some struggles for Utah offensively. I mean, not really surprising. And BYU, they're more of a dominant force than I thought. They're more of a dominant force than I believed. But, yeah, it was rough to run the ball for Utah. Wayshawn Parker only averaged 2.9 yards a carry. Daniel Bray, the leading rusher, had 12.1 yards per carry. They had 226 rushing yards, averaging 6.1 rushing yards on the day. Another big difference in this game was third down for both sides, really. BYU, 3 of 12 on third down. Utah, 5 of 12. But when you consider the fact that they went 1 for 5 on fourth down, it's tough. It's really tough. BYU played a great game. They looked much better than Utah, more dominant up front, and so they were able to get the win in the Holy War over those Utah Utes. Next game we're going to talk about is Georgia versus Ole Miss, and man, this was a great game. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the Dogs were surprisingly favored heading into this game, favored by 8 points. Georgia starts with a field goal, followed by Trinidad Chambliss touchdown run, Lawson Lucky touchdown reception, Kewan Lacey with a touchdown run, Gunnar Stockton touchdown run. You're not keeping up? It's 14-7, but let the score change because Ole Miss has got an answer. Another rushing touchdown from Kewan Lacey. It's 21-17. Peter Woodring knocking a short field goal to make it 21-20 before we head into the half. Ole Miss gets the ball coming out of the half. Second down and short. Stribling. Little slant check down, or I guess it was a curl, and he made the catch, took it to the house, 28-20. Lawson Lucky, touchdown reception from Gunnar Stockton. The Dogs would go for 2. It's incomplete. Stockton's knee hit the ground. It was a great call. It was a good call. And the call was accurate. Next, 2-yard run from Trinidad Chambliss. It's 35-26. Things are looking bad for the Dogs heading into the fourth quarter. But Gunnar Stockton, wide open Nate Frazier, 33-35. Lawson Lucky receives a touchdown, his third from Gunnar Stockton. 40-35. Ole Miss stalls on back-to-back series. And a field goal from Peter Woodring before the 2-minute timeout put the game on ice. 43-35. High-scoring game, and you love to see the offense. But the question is with Georgia, because their defense was much better, and it was a question mark. The last couple of seasons, this entire season, the question mark has been, how good is Georgia's defense? The answer really was not good at all, because they're not really good right now. 5 touchdowns on Ole Miss's first 5 possessions, but there was something in that defense, something that Kirby or something that the DC said to that defense that really turned the other shoe, and they were able to get key stops on 3 or 4 straight possessions. And Ole Miss, they looked flustered. They didn't look very good at the end of that game. Of course, we got to talk about Trinidad Chambliss, a guy that, honestly, I think Ole Miss he exceeded expectations, right? Exceeded the expectations that people set for him. 19 for 36 with a passing touchdown. The real touchdowns came on the running game, though. Leading rusher was Chambliss, 42 yards, 2 touchdowns on 9 carries. Kewan Lacey had 12 carries for 31 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. Really, the Georgia passing game was a key factor. You could say that Georgia had more success than Ole Miss running the ball. You'd be accurate by saying that. Georgia, despite the fact that Georgia threw for nearly 300 yards, they had the 4 touchdowns, and they threw the ball. Okay, well, they didn't throw the ball more often, but they threw it just as much as Ole Miss, basically. 5 more attempts for Chambliss than Stockton. They ran for over 200 yards. They had a rushing touchdown. They averaged 5 yards per carry compared to Ole Miss averaging 4 yards per carry. I'm rounding up here. And, I mean, that was incredible basic. I mean, surprised. I really am with how Georgia was able to run the ball, because there wasn't really much success in that department especially with Alabama, with Georgia. They were able to throw the ball down the field, and they didn't really have success. Honorable mention goes out to Alabama, Tennessee was really a top game, but the result was very disappointing. Really expected this one to be high scoring, evenly matched. Alabama obviously won the game 37-20. I'm not really going to go into depth about this game, but really should have been closer. And that's what really what I was expecting heading into this game. Pick 6 before the half really killed Tennessee in the moment. I mean, it was a goal line play, arguably play of the week in both the NFL and in college. 99-yard interception, pick 6 from Zabian Brown. Returned it all the way to the house, and that kind of just put Tennessee away. Didn't really have much to say in the second half of that game, so it was rough, to say the least. Sunday in the NFL, we got a couple of games to talk about. Let's start off with Sunday afternoon. Broncos-Giants. Giants coming off a big-time win against the Eagles on Thursday Night Football. They have not won a road game all season. Denver has not lost a home game all season. And the Giants started off hot. Touchdown. Jackson Dart, it was a play-action boot. Bellinger wide open, made the catch. Scored a touchdown, 7-0. So, Scattaboo, screen pass from Jackson Dart. Return for the touchdown. Or got it, he was outside the numbers, moved it back inside, made the catch. Scored the touchdown. So it's 13-0 Giants. Tyrone Tracy, he's back. Runs it in from 30 yards for 30-plus yards away. It's 19-0. Now fourth quarter hits. 19-0. Troy Franklin touchdown reception from Bo Nix. Broncos go for 2. 19-8. Theo Johnson. Touchdown reception from Jackson Dart. 26-8. Bo Nix. Touchdown run. 26-16. They went for 2 and got it. 26-16. Rush receiving touchdown. RJ Harvey from Bo Nix. 26-23. Bo Nix running touchdown. It was like a reverse where the offensive linemen were going one way. He faked it to the I believe it was the right side. He ran left and scored. 30-26. Jackson Dart run into the end zone was a good call. He did get across. 30-32, and with just about 30 seconds left, Bo Nix leads the game-winning drive for Will Lutz 39-yard kick. 33-32. Broncos remain undefeated at home. They advance to 5-2 atop the AFC West. The Giants staying at the bottom of their division in the NFC East at 2-5. Heading into this game, a lot of people were talking about how the Giants are fun to watch. And they are. They're incredibly fun to watch, but they haven't won a home game. Haven't won a home game at all, or haven't won a road game away from home all season. They played well at MetLife. They do it well every week consistently, but they have not played perfectly on the road. This was a game where missed extra points and just a poor defensive performance in the second half really allowed the Broncos to stay in this game and for them to win it. I did not really talk about the tip pass. So the Troy Franklin touchdown reception, I think it was Cortland Sutton who tipped it, and Troy Franklin was just there and he caught the ball. The Broncos honoring Demaryius Thomas. So just great to see the Broncos get a win, especially on the game-winning kick. And the Giants, just you give credit to what they did because they didn't play bad by any means. The momentum shifted to the Broncos, and the Broncos took the advantage that they had, ran with it, and they were able to win the game. Second game we talk about was Monday Night Football, and I think you all know the game that I'm talking about. Lions versus Buccaneers. Detroit, also another team undefeated on the road. The Buccaneers are undefeated at home. The Buccaneers are undefeated on the road. They have the MVP favorite in Baker Mayfield, who's played incredibly well. Jared Goff, touchdown reception to touchdown pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and 6-7. 7-0 Detroit. Then Jahmyr Gibbs, big-time run from Jahmyr Gibbs. He was able to score on a 78-yard rushing touchdown. And then it's 14-3 after a field goal from Tampa Bay. So that's the halftime score, 14-3. Buccaneers get the ball coming out of the half. They take it. It's a meticulous drive, 11 plays. But they score on a Tez Johnson touchdown reception, and the 2-point conversion failed. Jahmyr Gibbs, touchdown run at the end of the third quarter, and then finally, Jake Bates bangs in a field goal to win the game. And let's just, call it what it is. This was a great defensive performance by Detroit. They forced turnovers. And it was a great game. Detroit, you look at the stats, the numbers. Tampa Bay 4 for 16 on third down. They went for it on fourth down a couple of times. They got it a couple of times. But Detroit's defense played incredibly good, especially that weekend secondary. Baker Mayfield, 28 for 50, 1 interception, was sacked 4 times. They didn't run it well. They couldn't score in the red zone, right? They fumbled, right? And so it was a good game for the Lions defense. And when you have a good game defensively, and it's a close game like this, means your offense didn't really play well, and that was kind of the theme for the Lions. They struggled on third down, 3 for 13 on third down, 1 for 2 on the fourth downs. Didn't really go for it that much. They had a couple of penalties, couple of questionable ones, but we're not really going to talk about that. Goff had an interception in the game. It was just a bad throw. You can understand it, though, because he was trying to get to St. Brown, but just take the check down at that point, Jared. Detroit, great game defensively. They played it fantastically. Great game defensively, but I think the offense is what needs to step up. Moving forward, they have the bye this week. Coming out of the bye, they play Minnesota. So we'll see how well they play. Tampa Bay, on their end of the stick, they got the Saints. The Saints have played incredibly hard against every team that they've played, so it's not going to be easy, especially with their offense not looking as good. But it was a great game plan from Kelvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. Give him credit, doing what he did with the weekend secondary. The Lions are going to get healthy coming back. They're going to have Brian Branch coming back. I believe they're going to have a healthier defensive line. Lee McNeil played last night. And so, yeah. The time has come for weekly awards. We start in the college football world before we move on to the NFL. We're going to start in college. The game of the week for college, I think it's pretty obvious. Ole Miss and Georgia, high-scoring game, back and forth. Each side had an opportunity to win the game. And when it came down to it most, the defense won the game. And so even if you do not like offense, if you like smash mouth football and two teams playing in a great defensive battle, it wasn't at first, but defense for Georgia won them this game, which is why I think it could arguably be game of the year in college football. We'll have to wait and see if there's some better games, maybe some playoff games that could jump over this, but great game, in my opinion. For college comeback of the week, Penn State, Iowa was a great game. I don't have it right in front of me, but Penn State, they were up big time at half. Iowa comes back late in that game, and they were able to find a way to win that football game, which is really good. I don't have it right in front of me, but Penn State weakened. They didn't play their best football, of course, but they lost to Iowa team that looks really good at 4-2. They play Minnesota for Paul Bunyan. No, not Paul Bunyan Jacks. It's Minnesota, Wisconsin. But I think it's a pig that they're playing for. Upset of the week. We got one, and this is the only category that we have an honorable mention for. I'm sure there are more. If there's something I missed, leave a comment down below, because I'm sure there's definitely a game that needs to be talked about that I haven't talked about. But upset of the week, I have Louisville and Miami. Miami and Carson Beck, the 4 interceptions is just inexcusable. Really, really disappointing. Didn't play good football at all. But they did score touchdowns. Louisville, they game planned better. And the game plan was really good. They went for it on 4th down with a fake kick. So great game plan from Louisville. They played good. They executed better. And that's what you want to see from good football teams. Honorable mention is UAB versus Memphis. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with the American Conference, but that is basically, you know how Boise State and the Mountain West, that's kind of where the out-of-conference team is going to come from. This year, or last year, it was last year where the out-of-conference team was from the MAC. The group of 5 conference to watch, the American. You have, and I'm just going to give you numbers here because I know a lot of people aren't familiar with this conference and how the teams in it are doing. You've got 6-1 Memphis, 6-1 USF, 6-1 North Texas, and 6-1 Tulane. 4 teams that all have a genuine case to make the college football playoff, and you're going to see them play each other a couple more times before the season is over. So, I mean, USF right now, they're ranked. So they're the favorite. They beat North Texas last week. Or a couple of weeks ago. So they're USF obviously the favorite. Memphis was undefeated in that conference. They were the favorite before they lost to UAB. Give credit to Tulane as well. They're 6-1. They lost to Ole Miss. Haven't lost a conference game yet. And, of course, everyone knows Florida, they lost to Miami, which right now is looking like a bad loss, but Louisville could be good. They were before the game, and they look even better after. But that is kind of the story that we're basing this off of, right? So UAB is a team that is completely struggling in the conference. They fired their head coach, yet they host Memphis Tigers, and they upset them. Now, Memphis, at the end of the game, had a big run up the middle. They get to the 1-yard line. Penalties. They had like 3 penalties on that one sequence alone. But so I think it was a false start that backed them up. They get to the 1 again on a little like play to the flat, running back in the flat. They get to the one, tush push, they don't get it, false start, then a delay of game, and eventually 4th and goal just ended that way. They don't get it. It's a tough way to lose, especially when you make that many mistakes on the doorstep. So Memphis has got to clean that up in case they want to, win deep into conference play. So there's that. College blowout of the week. Got to give it to Oregon. They went stupid versus Rutgers. Noah Whittington came back for this game. Had 2 rushing touchdowns. Dante Moore really improved his Heisman case. He didn't play bad last week. He did have a couple of turnovers against Indiana, but he didn't play bad at all, and he played even better this week with 4 touchdowns, near 300 yards. Noah Whittington, like I mentioned, over 100 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. So Oregon, they look really good. Blew out Rutgers. They went college blowout of the week. And, there's not much else to talk about with Oregon outside of, schedule's kind of easy rest of the way through. I do think Washington could be a problem in the Big Ten right now. They're a team to watch. They play USC, who's got a good offense. Defense is rough, man. It's rough. Oh, by the way, shout out to Notre Dame USC. That game was really good. Or USC's offense is really good, and Notre Dame's defense has played well, which is part of the reason why they won that game. But they also won it because the offense and Julian Love, Jadarian Price, that offense for Notre Dame came alive when they needed it the most, which shout out to them. Okay, and Gunnar Stockton wins College Player of the Week, 26 for 31, 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. Who else are you going to give it to? Because I'm not giving it to Trinidad Chambliss. I'm not going to give it to Marcel Reed, who didn't play clean. Julian Aguilar didn't play clean. Levitt. Honestly, I was talking about Mendoza, Levitt, Stockton. And Stockton played the best, and his team had a good result. Mendoza, we could have given it. I think I did give it to him last week. No, maybe I didn't. I can't remember right now. But basically, Mendoza, he did it against Michigan State. He can do it against anyone. So, I have trust in Indiana and what they're doing. NFL Game of the Week. Got to go Thursday night, Steelers-Bengals. Rare occurrence where Thursday night football is actually quite a bit of a banger. It's rare, I know, but it actually is kind of good. And these two teams played really well, so there's that. Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, Thursday night in October, really good. Comeback of the week, had to give it to the Broncos. You're down 19 points in the fourth quarter. It was an incredible comeback. I've never seen anything like it. 28-3 was pretty remarkable, but 28-3 happened in the fourth quarter, or happened in the second half. And yeah, the Patriots were out of it, but imagine if they were down 28-0 in the fourth quarter. And the Patriots score, but so do the Falcons. That game's most likely over. Upset of the week, there weren't many teams that really won in an upset game. Like, you could give it to the Browns, but they were playing. Like, you could give it to the Browns, but the Browns were playing the Dolphins. You could give it to the Broncos, but they weren't really underdogs. You can give it to the Packers. You could basically give it to a ton of different teams, but I'm going to give it to Cowboys Commanders, and here's why. First of all, for an upset to occur, this is what I'm looking at. My standard of it being like a game being an upset, team has to be favored. Okay. Maybe the Cowboys were favored at home, but they didn't have the same record. Commanders were better, and these were two teams that honestly were pretty evenly balanced, in my opinion. Pretty balanced out, pretty even. And so the Cowboys put 44 on the head. Dak Prescott played well. CeeDee Lamb played well. And I think that Cowboys offense, because they can score against really good teams. So there might be a small chance that my prediction about the Cowboys this season comes true. Who knows? Blowout of the week, I also have to give to Cowboys Commanders. Not many teams blew them out. Other candidates that I would really consider for this: Chiefs, Patriots, Browns, surprisingly, Rams, Bears, and Lions. You know. And then player of the week, I know I said Cowboys are going to win the division, but Jalen Hurts played really well. It's kind of surprising when you look at his stat line because he went 19 of 23 with 330 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. The surprising part is they threw the ball 23 times. Only 19 of those passes were completed. I did see the opening touchdown. I did see the last one. Great game by Philly. That offense played really well. It might be coming alive. I mean, their defense has been consistent all season. Their offense may be coming alive. Just now. Of course, we got to get in the top 10s. We're going to start with college. In week 9. Number 10 for my college top 10, Oklahoma. Number 9, Georgia Tech. Number 8, BYU. Number 7, Ole Miss. 6 is Oregon. 5 is Georgia, 4 is A&M, 3 is Bama, 2 is Indiana, 1 is Ohio State. For the NFL, give me a moment here. Yes, okay. We have the Broncos at 10, Patriots at 9, Packers at 8, Bills at 7, Seahawks at 6, Buccaneers at 5, Eagles at 4, Rams at 3, Lions at 2, and Colts at 1. There's a good chance that maybe I shake this up because I do not see many things I like with it. Maybe move up the Patriots or the Packers, but the Bills over the Bills. But that I talked about the Eagles. Eagles are coming alive. They're on the bye. Lions are on the bye. Bills are coming off the bye, which gives you something to look forward to. So, yeah, a couple of things and to look out for. All right. Thank you so much for listening to The Jackson Show. I always enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. Once again, thank you so much for listening. And as always, bring a friend.